Hi everyone, my name is Karen, this is my channel RatherBeReading, and today I'm bringing to you my December mid-month wrap-up. It is so hot here, you guys. I'm still red in the face and it's disgusting. It's currently about 6:45 at night and it is still about 38.5 degrees, which I believe is about 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It's so hot. It's disgusting. Thank God for air conditioning, otherwise I don't know how I would survive, really. So I also just want to apologize for not having got a video up in a little while. Life has just been crazy busy. I've had something on basically every night after work and all weekend, and the only time I did have to film I was really hungover because that holiday season is upon us, and so yeah, I didn't get anything filmed, but I will just be talking about my December mid-month wrap-up, the books that I read from the 1st through the 15th of December. I didn't get as much read as I would like to have, because as I said, life has been crazy busy. I believe I got 7 things read, so let's just jump straight in and I will talk about what I did manage to get read. So the first book that I completed in December was The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. This was a reread. I was rereading the series in preparation for going to see Mockingjay Part 2, and so I read this one. I haven't talked about this series at all on my channel, I don't think, so I'll talk about it more kind of when I get to Mockingjay, when I read that, so that I can talk about my more in-depth feelings for the trilogy. But I do really enjoy this book. I enjoy it, rereading it just as much as I ever did. I originally gave this 4 stars, and I'm going to stick with that rating. I'm not sure why I only gave it 4 stars, because I feel it's at least a 4.5 stars, if not a 5-star book for me, but I don't know how I feel about changing my ratings on things, so I'm going to leave this at a 4-star, but I loved it as much as ever, as I said. So the second book that I managed to complete in the month of December was Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. This is the 5th Jane Austen book that I've managed to read this year. I've read Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, Mansfield Park, and Emma. I did really enjoy Northanger Abbey. Northanger Abbey is the first book chronologically that Jane Austen actually wrote, but it wasn't published until after she had died. And it does have quite a different feel, I think, from her previous books, but I still really enjoyed it. I liked that this story kind of played on some gothic novel themes. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the main character, and this book has a character in it who I really didn't like, which is not that typical of Jane Austen books, but I really despised her basically from the get-go. I just knew that I didn't like her, and so it was quite fun to have a character to really dislike in this book, and as I said, I really enjoyed it, and I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars. Nope, I gave it 3.75 stars. 3.75 stars, that was my rating. The next book that I completed in December was Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. I picked this up to complete the challenge of reading a book that you were supposed to read in high school but didn't. I read everything I was supposed to read in high school, so I didn't really have a book to fulfill this challenge, so I decided to reread a book that I read in high school but I didn't like, to kind of see how I felt about it now that I'm older. And so I read this in year 12, which was in 2005, so in my final year of high school, so it's been 10 years since I read this book, and I still didn't enjoy it. I think I took a lot more out of it than what I did when I was in high school, so that's good. I think if you'd asked me to rate it back in high school, I would have definitely only given it 1 star, but I'd probably give it about 2.5 stars now, because I can see a lot of the themes, and I understand it and I get what the author was trying to do, and so I appreciated that. I just don't enjoy reading this, to be honest with you, so yeah, 2.5 stars. The next book that I picked up was Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. As I said, I was rereading the series in preparation for the movie. I also gave this one 4 stars originally, and so I'll be sticking with that rating. I love this one. I think this might be my favorite. I'm not sure. I really love The Hunger Games as well, but I do really enjoy this one. The ending of this one tears me apart every time. I just love it, so I enjoyed this, and yeah. The next book that I picked up was Beware the Gingerbread House by Emily Rodda. This is, I believe, the 5th book, or is this? No, yeah, the 5th book in the Teen Power Inc. series that I've been rereading from my childhood. Sunny is the narrator in this one, and Sunny is actually my favorite narrator. I don't know if it's slightly biased, because my favorite ever book from this series, the one that I remember most and that is my favorite, Sunny narrated, but I just really enjoy her as a narrator. This one follows the Teen Power Inc. They get a job at a bakery in the mall, and it's made up to look like a gingerbread house, and there's this woman who works there, and it's just kind of following what's going on with them working at that job. And like I said, I really enjoyed this one, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. The next book that I picked up was Matilda by Roald Dahl. If you saw in my TBR or when I hauled this book from the library, I was so excited to read this. This is a reread. I have read it before, but Matilda is one of my all-time favorite movies, and I haven't read this in a really long time. I picked this up to fulfill the challenge of reading a book that was published the year you were born. It's actually quite different from the book, which I think surprises me every time I read it, because I remember thinking that the last time I read it, like, it really actually is quite different. If being honest, I probably prefer the movie, but I do still really, really love the book. I definitely recommend everyone read this. It is a great children's book, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. So the final book that I read from the 1st through the 15th of December, I actually finished on the 15th of December, and that was Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins. I was going to see the movie on the 15th, on the night of the 15th, and at about 6 o'clock when I got home from work, I had only read 100 pages, and I really wanted to finish it before I went to see the movie, so I just powered through this, read it as quickly as I could. So we're going to see the movie at about 8:30. I managed to finish it before we went to see it, which I was really pleased about. As I said, I really, really enjoyed this series. It is, I believe, one of the best YA trilogies out there. I'm going to talk about a couple of spoilery things now about this trilogy, because I have never talked about it on my channel, so if you don't want to hear any spoilers, just mute the video until I put the book down. I, again, gave this book 4 stars, and I would give the series probably 4 stars overall. I do think this is my least favorite of the trilogy, which I know a lot of people say, but I do still really, really love it. There's only one real problem with the series overall that I have, which I want to talk about, and that is that the way that Katniss ends up with Peter. I love Peter, and I'm more than happy for Katniss and Peter to be together. My main gripe is that Katniss never really chooses Peter. And sure, she may have chosen him anyway, but I feel that she only really ends up choosing Peter because Gale kind of takes himself out of the running with the whole bomb and it killing Prim and her never knowing that. And so he's kind of taken out of the running, and she just kind of ends up with Peter by default, it always felt like to me. And I do think that they should be together, but I don't feel like she ever really chose him, and that always bothered me when I was reading this. And yeah, but I do still really love this series. As I said, I enjoyed rereading it so much, and I almost want to pick it up and reread it again because it is such an enjoyable, quick series. And I'll just touch on the movie really quickly because I thought the movie was really good. I stand by the fact that I don't think it needed to be 2 movies. I just don't see why they had to do that. And there's a couple of things that they cut out of the second movie that I was like, you made this into 2 movies. How did you still need to cut content out? That drives me nuts, but I did think it was a really faithful adaptation, and it was done really well. I felt like it felt a bit disjointed at the start because it didn't feel like its own movie because it was just following straight on from the first movie, but I did still really enjoy it, and I would definitely recommend go seeing it if you've been thinking about it. But yes, I really enjoyed the movie, and I really enjoyed this series. So those are the 7 books that I managed to read in the first half of December. As I said, it's not as much as I really would have liked to have got read. I am hoping to get more read at the end of December. I am working right up until the day before Christmas Eve, and then I'm off for the rest of December. But, you know, it's Christmas and there's family and things like that, so I'm not sure how much I'll get read, but I do think I'll get more read than I read at the start of the month, hopefully. Here's hoping, you never know. So yeah, I would love for you guys to comment down below and let me know what you've been reading, or if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts are. I would love to chat to you guys down below. Please like this video if you liked it. Please subscribe if you want to see more, but that's what I've got for this video today. Bye, guys. Oh my god, I'm sweating.